Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope you're doing well. It's time to talk about the 10 most popular releases of the year. That's not one of them. Imposter. So today what we're doing is we're talking about the 10 most popular men's fragrance releases of this year, according to Fragrantica. Fragrantica. This one actually was number 11 as of when I'm filming this video, so close, buddy. You get an honorable placement here. Did your best. You did good. So what I'm doing is going through the top 10 most popular men's fragrance releases as of this video. It's right toward the end of the year, so these could shake up a little bit, you know, toward the end. Maybe one of them drops from like 9 to 10 or something, but this seems to be pretty much locked in. It's gonna be these 10. Now, as time goes, I think these will change more. I think some of these that are higher up are gonna drop a bit. Others that are lower down will come up a bit. So maybe next year it's gonna look different than this. But as of right now, these are the ones that Fragrantica users apparently are talking about the most, that are hyped about or hating the most, one or the other, on that website. And I'll have these linked down below in case you wanna check them out from 10 to 1. Before we jump into the first fragrance though, look at that, codes. See that? That's pretty cool, man. Using these will save you money at those websites. That's how codes work. All right, let's go, guys. Number 10, the 10th most popular men's fragrance release of the year, Myself, from Yves Saint Laurent. Now, I do think that as time goes on, this is going to move up the rankings. I think that more people are going to write reviews and vote on it and all that stuff, and it's gonna cause it to bump up as time goes on. This one was also released more recently, so it's had less time to move up the rankings, which is another reason that I think it will move up as time goes on. And if you look at what's selling right now at like Macy's and Sephora, stores like that, you know, retail stores, Myself is doing really well, which means that as more people buy this, it's going to get talked about more and it's gonna move up the rankings more. So I think that this at number 10 right now will not stay at number 10. Now, as far as the note breakdown here goes, it's really simple. It's essentially bergamot, orange blossom, amberfix, and patchouli. That's pretty much it. It's a fragrance that's kind of reminiscent of a whole bunch of different things, but doesn't smell exactly like anything. So it's going to remind you possibly of some other things out there while still being its own deal. One thing about this fragrance, it is really versatile and it's a big compliment puller. People love the way that Myself smells. I've gotten great reactions from this, even though I haven't owned it that long. It's the type of scent that you can wear just about anywhere. You know, it's super easygoing, very pleasant, very pleasing, and it is 100% the type of fragrance that is gonna get crapped on by people within the fragrance community who are looking for something more unique, more daring, what have you. So this is the type of scent where you're gonna see a lot of love from people who are wearing it and getting great reactions from it. They're gonna really heap praise on this. Then at the same time, you're gonna see a lot of people hating on it, saying how derivative it is, how boring it is, et cetera, et cetera. This is gonna be kind of a lightning rod for that. For me personally, it doesn't really wow me as far as how it smells, but I think that it has awesome versatility. And like I said, it's got a big time compliment factor. So if those two things are important for you, you should absolutely check this out because it will do both those things really, really, really well. Like I said, number 10, but I don't think for long. I think it's gonna move up. Number 9, Guerlain L'Homme Idol Platine Privé. Wouldn't surprise me if this one moves down. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if this like eventually worked its way out of the top 10. A big reason for that is Guerlain gets a lot of love from within the fragrance world, the fragrance sphere. But in the US, you know, L'Homme Idol, it's not really performing as well as any of the other big dog fragrance releases. So this is one where people within the fragrance community, they're gonna know about it, they're gonna purchase it, they're going to wear it. Your average Joe, you know, is not gonna know this as well as myself, for example. So I think this is pretty easily gonna leapfrog this one as time goes on. That said, I love it. Platine Privé smells awesome. Does it remind me of L'Homme Idol cologne that was discontinued quite a while back? Yes. Yes, it does, which is maybe questionable a little bit. You know, they come out with a L'Homme Idol cologne. It apparently doesn't do all that well. It gets discontinued. And then years later, they're like, we should come up with another warm weather L'Homme Idol fragrance. What should we do? Let's throw darts at the dartboard here. Remake the fragrance that we discontinued because it wasn't selling well. you're a friggin' genius. That's what we're gonna do. I mean, all right. I mean, I love the way it smells. I think this is awesome, but I also thought L'Homme Idol cologne smelled awesome. So I don't know, man. Has almond, neroli, grapefruit, bergamot. Really smells good. Like I've said 15 times at this point. It's classy, a little bit creamy from the almond, not overly so. The citrus, very smooth. It doesn't, tickle your nose. It doesn't sting your nose at all. It doesn't have any of that abrasiveness that citrus can sometimes have. Just really clean, a little bit soapy, but again, not in a powdery way. Just really good, really, really good. So while I myself might say, hey, between these two fragrances and somewhat similar color schemes, this one is the superior fragrance. I think long-term, as far as overall popularity goes, that one's gonna do better. Not all things in life are fair. Number 8, Parfum de Broly, Altair. That's how you say it, right? Altair. This one is the newest cool weather Parfums de Marly release. And with Parfums de Marly releases comes typically a good amount of popularity. Now this is a good release, it's solid. I don't think it's as good as Leighton or Carlisle, some of the other really big dogs from the House Herod, for example, but it's good. And it is one that kind of grows on you the more that you wear it. So when I very first got this one in, it reminded me of like Dunhill Desire Red to an extent, but a much higher quality version of that. And it still does give me like little bits and pieces of that, but it has kind of smoothed out a little, not as like aggressively sweet off the top when I smell it now. Is that because I'm used to it and I kind of know what to expect? Possibly, but it does come across a little bit smoother, warmer, less high-tinged sweet. So another solid release from Parfums de Marly. Good for fall and winter, good for daytime or evening use. It does have good performance, it's gonna get you noticed, but again, on the hierarchy of PDM, I put this probably somewhere around like 5th place or something as far as their cool weather sense goes. But if you are a PDM fan, I do think it's worth owning, and I think that as far as their last few releases go, might be my favorite one. Then we have like the complete opposite. We go from niche to really inexpensive. Zara Sand Desert at Sunset. Now, this one is basically a clone of Angel Share by Kilian. Same perfumer, actually, that did that fragrance, did this one. Zara is just out here. They don't care at all, man. They're like, okay, we want that fragrance, but how are we gonna go about it? I know, we'll just hire the exact same perfumer and be like, look, make that fragrance, okay, but on 5% of the budget. Good luck. So yeah, it's basically an Angel Share alternative. You could view it that way. And it does, to an extent, surprise me that it has been ranked so highly on Fragrantica. Not that it smells bad. It's pretty inexpensive, like you would expect from Zara, and it does share similarities to Angel Share, which smells awesome. So where's the issue? Well, the issue is the performance is not great, and I think that it also just doesn't smell as good as most all the other Angel Share clones that are already out there. So it just becomes kind of like a okay kind of deal where you're like, I guess. Maybe it's sort of like Vibrant Leather from Zara. That's an Invictus clone. So when Vibrant Leather came out, got a lot of love. People were like, oh, Vibrant Leather, get that Zara Invictus. But at the same time, there was already a lot of other Invictus clones out there that had better performance, that would get you more compliments if that's what you're after, that even maybe smelled better than Vibrant Leather as well, that weren't getting the hype that Vibrant Leather was getting. So it was kind of like, is it just because it's Zara and you can easily walk into a store and buy it, so then that makes it better? I don't know, but that to me feels like what's going on here. So with Sand Desert at Sunset, it just makes me kind of question it. If it's more expensive than some of the other alternatives with worse performance and it also doesn't smell better, why get it? All that being said, if you pretend that the other alternatives to Angel Share don't exist, then yes, at the price point, this is a solid alternative. And for some people who want a less sweet alternative to Angel Share, then this one actually could work really well. Because something like Kamra, for example, it is sweet and it is strong. So if you don't like that type of scent profile, maybe this one works better for you. And in that circumstance, actually, I think it would make sense. Number 6, Gentleman's Society, hanging tough, right outside the top 5. Not getting quite the same amount of love as Reserve Privé did. But to be fair, I think that Reserve Privé overall probably the better scent, isn't it? And this is one that's kind of gone back and forth a little bit. Initially, when it first launched, kind of lukewarm. And as time has gone on, it's gotten a little bit more love on Fragrantica. I do like it. I think it's a nice fragrance. It's got good versatility. It's classy, as you would expect from the fragrance line. It makes use of Narcissus, which is a bit of a departure. It doesn't have that iris note front and center like the other fragrances in this line have tended to do. And that's probably one of the reasons that there was an initial backlash to the fragrance. A small backlash. It's not like it was getting ripped apart or anything like that, but the removal of the iris, you know, people don't take to that well. Look at me with Dior Homme Original and Dior Homme 2020. Live and learn though. When Dior Homme 2020 came out, I crapped on it, I hated on it, I was dunking on it, crapping on it, hating on it over and over and over. And then as time went on, I wore it more, and then I dropped the bias, and I just realized, oh, you know, actually I like Dior Homme 2020. So I made sure not to do that again with this one. And when this came out, I went into it with an open mind and I enjoy it. I do think that there's like a faint like remembrance of iris in here that you can pick up. It's certainly not a prominent thing like it was before, but you can still pick up sort of wafts of that in the background if you stretch your mind. It's fresh, aromatic, a little bit sweet, really nice wearing fragrance. Will it stay up at number 6? Don't know. That could be one that kind of gets bumped down and some others replace it over time. But I think it should stay top 10, I would think. Maybe I'll come back in a year and do like an update and see where everything is. We're in the top 5, Eau de Parfum Intense from Yves Saint Laurent. And this is another one that, you know, kind of a lukewarm reception overall. It's another one that I enjoy though. I think it smells nice. It is classy, it's aromatic, kind of like Gentleman's Society here, trying to be like a fragrance that has everyday wear usability that you could also wear in more formal situations and it wouldn't stick out. It does have some similarities to Eau de Parfum and Le Parfum, but not as sweet, you know, not as much in the opening there. That apple has been done away with, for example, from Eau de Parfum to Eau de Parfum Intense. Good amount of sage in here, some vetiver as the fragrance dries down, good performance as well. It's a scent that I like, I enjoy wearing. Do I think it's gonna have the lasting impact of like Eau de Parfum? I don't, but it's a release that I enjoy. Here really soon, I'm gonna have to do the top 10 releases of the year, my personal top 10, and I'm kind of trying to think in my head of where everything's gonna fall. I've got a good idea of like the top 3, for example, but past that, yeah, it's gonna be tough. You guys have to let me know in the comments below your 3 favorite releases of this year, because I've got mine in my head, but you gotta let me know what yours are. All right, number 4, Uomo Born in Roma Intense. This is my favorite Born in Roma fragrance, hands down. The original Born in Roma, wasn't really a big fan of, still not a massive fan of. I think it does well what it tries to do, which is, you know, be an Invictus-y sort of compliment puller for younger guys. It does that. So, I mean, props there, but not really for me. This one though, this one I dig. Simple note breakdown, vanilla, lavender, vetiver, that's it. And I'm not a fan of those. I'm still gonna complain. I'm gonna be a Karen here. Stop it with these 3 note breakdowns. Stop it. Get some help.
Get some help.
I know there are going to be some people that say, nah, it's good. I like the simple note breakdowns because it lets me imagine whatever I want to is in the fragrance or whatever excuse you're using, okay? Stop with the excuses. No, it's not okay. More than 3 notes. Come on. You can find a happy median between, you know, in the 70s and 80s where they gave us 72 notes. Like that was a bit much, right? I agree. That's too many notes. But 3, that's just lazy. Somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle. Great performance, huge compliment puller. Not too sweet, actually, surprisingly. Pretty much wear that year round, daytime, nighttime, younger guys, middle-aged guys, doesn't matter. Great release. Number 3, Acqua di Parfum. Now you would think that being in the top 3 is amazing, fantastic. And yeah, it is. But I think to an extent, it shows that Acqua di is maybe losing a little bit of its luster, at least in the fragrance world. Now, obviously, it's still top 3. It's still top 3. So like, it's not the end of the world or anything like that. But at the same time, when you look at the best sellers, a lot of the Acqua di flankers are not that high up there. They're still selling bottles. They're still making money. But they're getting supplanted by other fragrances that not that long ago you would think, oh, that's not on the level of Acqua di You know, they can't hang with Acqua di but apparently they can. So Parfum is essentially the replacement for Profumo. Profumo going bye-bye, and then they bring out Parfum in a similar bottle style, although with a cooler gradient. Similar fragrance as Profumo as well. I mean, you know, a little tweak, a little change to Profumo, but essentially doing the same thing. Yeah, it's number 3, not number 2, not number 1. And all of this is with Parfum being the replacement to Profumo, which is one of the most hyped fragrances ever. Talking YouTube Fragrantica, the entire interwebs, Profumo is everywhere. So Acqua di Gio, it will be interesting, I feel like, to watch its next release or couple releases. Profundo has done pretty well over the last few years. It's stayed pretty consistent as far as where it's at on bestseller lists and everything else. But I wonder if the next step, the next evolution in Acqua di Gio will take it to the next level, or will it kind of taper off? That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to see where's it gonna go from here. Because I feel like, and this is just me, but I feel like it's kind of at a crossroads, right? It's still a huge name. Everyone knows Acqua di Gio, but the best-selling Acqua di Gio is still the original Acqua di Gio. For most of these others here, it's not the original. Like, is the original Valentino Uomo the bestseller in its line? It's not. Is the original Eau de Toilette the bestseller? No, it's actually been reformulated and changed to something new. Same thing with Gentleman. Is Society the bestseller? And with the next two that we talk about, is the original the bestseller for those? So yeah, Acqua di Gio, I'm rooting for it. I want it to keep being successful. I want it to be more successful because Acqua di Gio, the original, is one of the most important fragrances to me in my life, period. And this is not me hating on Parfum. I think Acqua di Gio Parfum smells great. Really enjoy it. I just want it to keep succeeding. I want the line to keep succeeding, keep crushing it. I want to look forward to a great Acqua di Gio release every year. And I feel like now they've kind of tied everything together, right? They have the Eau de Toilette, the Eau de Parfum, the Parfum. So now it's time to see what's coming next. Number 2, Invictus Victory Elixir. I love that one. That's good. Truth be told, I was not sure I was ever gonna like really love an Invictus release. I kind of always viewed Invictus as a line that was just not really for me. But this one does it for me. Vanilla, Tonka, Olibanum. It's just a great modern men's vanilla scent. It has this great effervescence to it, this sparkle to it. It reminds me a little bit of Pure Excess, which is another fragrance that I really enjoy. But then it reminds me even more so of Le Beau Parfum from Jean Paul Gaultier, with bits of Invictus Victory that came before this one, even touches of Scandal from Jean Paul Gaultier, but I like it more than all of those. Le Beau Parfum has grown on me a ton though. Just an amazing fall and wintertime fragrance, great performance, huge compliment puller, confidence booster. This is one of my favorites of the year easily. Number 1, not a big surprise I would say, LOM Elixir. Yeah. I love this scent. It is amazing. I don't see any of these taking the number 1 spot from this in the future, because some of these are amazing also. Some of these are fantastic releases, some good stuff. But yeah, it's just, this is kind of on another level, I feel like, because LOM Parfum, that fragrance, so good, so good. And then Elixir, I think, is better. And with how popular LOM Parfum has been, and for this to come out and be at least on par, most people would say really close to on par. Some are going to prefer the Parfum, some are going to prefer Elixir, but the fact that it's that close means that it's just gonna be another nonstop, stellar, just beast in the community. It's one of those scents that is gonna be around a while. Gosh, amazing scent. Great presentation. I think it looks really good, eye-catching, kind of classy as well. I know it's all gold rimmed and maybe you would say tacky, but like the amber color of the stripes, I think does help dial it in a little bit. Rein it in, makes it look less tacky, doesn't look like a 1 million bottle for... Sorry, buddy.
Why are we still here?
So LOM Elixir, number 1, I think it stays number 1. I think pretty easily this is the release of the year for most people. So those are the top 10 as of when I'm filming this. I think myself moves up as time goes on. I think the Guerlain probably moves down. The Zara probably moves down, and then maybe the PDM moves up a little bit. That's kind of how I see it shaking out. These two, the top 2, I think they're pretty safe in these spots. Yeah, kind of the top 4. I feel like there's a divide, right? Like these top 4 here are probably gonna be viewed by most people as the real big dogs of the year until myself moves up. and then maybe you would put it like that, as these being like the biggest 5 of the year. That's, at least in my mind, these 5 are probably the biggest. So there we go. There's your top 10. Let me know if there are any surprises here to you, fragrances that you feel like pretty comfortably would fit in here in the top 10 that you think are easily good enough to do battle with these. Let me know what those are, and your top 3 favorites as well. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.